Have you ever had a double-sided paper that you loved both sides so much you couldn't decide which side to use? Sometimes it's painful putting adhesive on a pretty paper only to hide one side in between your layers. Hi, I'm Jessica Taylor, and in this quick video I'm going to show you how to make a card that shows off both sides of your pretty papers. I have two versions here that only have a slight difference, and that is one leaves a little border around the edges, and the other is a full card front. The only difference is how long you cut your double-sided paper. On this card with the border, you're going to cut it a length of 5 1/4 inches. And for the full card, you're going to cut it at 5 1/2 inches. Now, both cards start with a 4-inch strip, and that's because when you cut your 12 by 12 pattern into 4-inch strips, you're going to be able to get 6 of these cards out of one sheet of double-sided paper. So let's see how these card bases go together. I find it easiest to start with a full card. This is 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches, and I've scored it at 4 1/4 inches, but it's also easy to just fold your paper in half and give it a good crease to make your card base. Once I have my full card, I'm going to cut the front of the card base, and I'm going to measure it at 3 1/4 inches. So when I cut that much off the front of my card base, it's just going to leave 1 inch left. Now you can cut your paper 5 1/2 inches by 5 1/4 inches to start, but sometimes it's hard to remember which way you need to do your score line. So I find it easiest to just make the full card first and then cut off the front. Then you can use this piece for something else. This small 1-inch flap on the front can be decorated in a variety of ways. Two ways that I have decorated that is one with some linen thread, so you could use any kind of ribbon around there. And the second way is to emboss it. When you're embossing that 1-inch strip, you want to just slide it in the side of your embossing folder and then run it through your embossing machine this way. Now, let me give you some tips for taping this card together. This is the 4-inch by 5 1/2 inch piece, so it's going to be the full card front. It's a little bit narrower, and that's because you want your card to fold okay. And again, so you can get more cards out of one sheet of double-sided paper. So I'm going to go ahead and add a line of adhesive on the outside of this little front flap on the card base. And then you want to make sure you know which direction you want your double-sided paper to go. It doesn't really matter, you just decide, unless you have an obvious up and down pattern, then you really do want to make sure you know which way. Then I'm going to add a line of adhesive on the top inside line. This is just going to make sure that my card stays together. Then I'll make sure my edges are together by tapping it down on my table, and then I'll gently rest that and give it a good crease. If you have a little bit sticking out on either side, you can just take your paper snips and maybe do a little trimming there. Again, you can decorate the strip with some ribbon or some linen thread, and for this one I did add an insert. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I stamped Happy Birthday on the inside. When you want there to be a border around the edge, again, you're going to cut it 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm going to do something very similar. I'm going to make sure that when I tape this, I'm not taping too far. So I don't want to go all the way to the ends this time, because then I'll kind of tape my card shut here, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start in a little bit, but right along the edge, and then I want to end in a little bit. And then I'll do the same line down the inside of here. Make sure that it's lined up with an even border all the way around. And then go ahead and seal that down. Now for this one, I left the inside blank, but this is a light enough cardstock that I could just write right on there. And then I added the Happy Birthday, punched it out, and put it up with dimensionals. So I hope you love this idea for showing off both sides of your pretty double-sided papers. Go ahead and grab a piece now that you love both sides on and make a card. I'll list my paper sizes in the description below to make it really easy for you. Thanks so much for watching, and happy stamping!